Hi, everybody. This is Mike on the Michael W. Hull channel, and today I'm going to talk about practicing. Ah, the P word, practicing. So, why, how, and how much should we practice? Well, why should we practice? Well, ideally, we practice because we like to play. And as simple as that sounds, I like to explain to people, especially students who are developing into musicians, whether they be college students or younger students. Listen, I don't care how many degrees I have in music, uh, and how serious I am about music. I'm in music for the same reason I started music, because I like it and love it. So I hear people talking about their passion and their passion being music. Well, my dad used to say, well, his dad used to say, if you can find out what to do next, you got a good path. That's basically, I'm paraphrasing, but my dad would always say, what you do well, you do often. What you do often, you do well. And so that passion and desire for music is necessary, but you also have to have the mundane down, the day to day. And I would say you practice not only to get better, but specifically to develop as an artist. So, how much? Well, people talk about quality and quantity. I would say quality first comes to mind. If you have 10 minutes before friends come over, make sure you get done what you would like or get something significant done before you leave to go out. And I would say that uh, basically be very goal oriented and feel like you walk out of the practice session better and not worse. And I've sat and practiced a couple hours before and felt terrible afterwards. Not a good thing. So, does the time matter? Sure, it does. I can give a good 10 minutes but still be a mediocre player because, frankly, you just have to spend time at it. Um, I don't think there can be a better combination than quality and quantity. So, ideally, even though I keep a practice log and journal so that my students will too, I know how much I practice, but I like to get lost in the moment too, lost in time. I had several students in the past, both very successful students, and when I first told them as music majors how much they needed to practice, they were a little bit worried. They had doubt that they could do it. I challenged one student. I said, "Look for the windows of time, and I promise you, you'll find them." And he did. He did, and he never looked back. And he not only did he fulfill the academic requirements, but he became a really good artist, and he enjoys playing to this day. My other student, like that, they were friends, by the way. He was concerned about that. So there's the academic requirement, but then you start practicing, and all of a sudden you get lost. You as far as watching the clock. So you're not trying to say I'm not trying to propose that you say, "Oh, I've got 10 more minutes of this drudgery, to get to 2 hours a day or 3 hours a day or whatever." Um, I think you can possibly over practice. You don't want to be overly fatigued when you practice, that's for sure. So there's a lot of ways to look at it. Another thing too that came to me, and I use this with younger children and also adults. I say, imagine if you practice X number of minutes every waking hour. Now that works better with adults. Kids, you just try, I try to get them to think about, if they're under 10, if they're 6 or 7, okay, take your age and multiply times 2. 2 minutes a day, so if you're 6, try to get 10 to 15 minutes. 5 touches a week, maybe 5 to 7 days a week is really good on a normal week. Try to encourage people as a teacher to practice regularly. Um, it occurred to me though, if I were to practice 10 minutes a day for every waking up hour I was awake. So let's say, who gets 8 hours of sleep? Well, hopefully, but if I were to take a 16-hour day and practice 10 minutes, then that would be 160 minutes. Well, that's 2 hours and 40 minutes. That's not bad. Up that to 15 minutes. Now, you're not going to be able to do that every hour, but that would be a neat way to look at it. As far as academic requirements for my colleagues, I tell you, I do an accumulative amount. So I tell students they have so many days in the semester, you need to practice a certain amount of days, and you need to accrue so many accumulative hours, and the practice and the results go hand in hand, and it's just really that simple in that way. Um, People get stuck sometimes. Maybe the quality's not as good as you want, but ultimately, that's why we practice too. It's the integrity of being an artist. I can sleep well at night because I know I put in a good day's work. Practicing can involve other things too. I'm not talking about counting all of your music classes, but it's good if you look at things holistically too, related. I mean, if I'm doing specific theory, if I when I was a student, I know it's you separate classes, but I also, if I'm composing, I will count that as practice time if I'm trying to meet a deadline for a guitar piece, whether I'm playing it or not. Sometimes I'm just visualizing the notes. I try to compose without the guitar in my hands oftentimes. So, but making contact with the guitar, even rehearsal with student groups, that's not a part of my practice time, but it is practical contact. And so I'm playing. And then my personal practice time, I want to make sure that I get a significant amount of time there too. So it's all about being an artist and about developing, about living the life. So you can say, I did a good day's work. I'm fortunate that I'm behind the guitar all day and I can teach, but I definitely need that personal practice time too. So I hope this bit of advice off the top of my head, I've been thinking about it a while. I wanted to share that with you, and I hope that helps. Good night, all.